Hello and welcome to the Howards. Oh, I just jacked this thing up, didn't
We're hanging with the Howards. Let's keep it rolling. Okay.
I?
Just
let's do keep it rolling. I'm Brian,
we got ahead of ourselves. And I'm Tish.
and once again, welcome to the Howards. That's right, the with a DA. And we thought, due to your feedback after that very first pilot episode, that we would give this little backstory. Kind of like if you've ever watched the TV show This Is Us. It kind of went backwards just a little bit. And so we thought we would go a little bit back on how we got to this point.
This is going to be a pretty sensitive topic, especially for me. So don't expect any, details. It's like, no, it's going to be simplified. But we just kind of wanted to just let kind of about about our previous relationship and just kind of the things that we learned and kind of how we got where we are today.
Absolutely. I think that, in our previous relationships, you're always going to walk away learning a few things here or there, not just about yourself, but what you are exactly looking for in a relationship. So, Tish, what was it that you were looking for?
Me first?
Oh, well, if you want, you can delve in and hit me up because I have absolutely no problem.
Well, okay. Mine will probably be, I'll make it a little simple. So, okay, I'll go first. Okay, so I was married fairly young. I think I was 21 when I got married. So my previous marriage lasted a little over 20 years. We have two daughters. I'm not interested in going into all of the details about, the relationship.
Hold up a second. We got two daughters?
Stop it. I
Okay.
said my previous marriage, we were married 20 years. It's gonna be I don't know why we're doing this. Anyway, we're trying to help somebody. We gotta stay focused. We're trying to help somebody. Okay. So I was married 20 years, have two daughters by my ex. We just like with any other relationship, like I said, we were young. One of the first, I think we were the first couple, like in our little friend group or whatever, to get married. Back then, people were getting married like in their early 20s. Now people are in their early 30s. So things have kind of progressed that way. But anyway, so we're one of the first couples in our friend group to get married. Of course, everything starts out great. We had our first daughter after about 3 years of being married. And I won't say it's hard, but marriage is work.
It's very much work, yes.
It takes a lot of work. And when you throw a child in there or throw children in there, you have to work extra hard to be able to still find that time for each other, but also be yourself as well. So, like I said, we were young. I had our first daughter after about 3 years of being married. Still everything was kind of, rocking and rolling pretty good. 4 years later, had our second daughter. And things got a little bit harder, with the career that he had, he was gone a lot. So we didn't take that time, I guess, to still be us. Like for me, like I became mom. You know, I kind of lost myself in becoming a mom. I want to, raise my daughters well. We had family support and everything, but I was the type of person that, or I am the type of person that I want to do things on my own. So we did have good family support, good friend support, but ultimately, those are my daughters. So I wanted to raise them. So in saying all of that, a lot of times, like I said, you have to, especially when you have children, you have to make that time to still date. Now I will say we didn't really do a whole lot of that before we had children. So just to put that out there. but especially when you have children, you have to find that time. And I think basically what happened in that relationship was that um, I was focused on being a mom. Um, and could I have done more? Could I have done better? I'm pretty sure, but I was a young mom. I just felt like, hey, this is just what I need to be doing. Focus on these kids. It's not their fault that they're here. We brought them in this world, so we got to right, you know. And I feel like, it's just not to bash him or anything, but I felt like most of the responsibility was on me, as far as making sure, you know, that they felt like, that they had everything that they need. Now, he was a good provider. I'm not going to say that he wasn't, but I'm saying is you had your time as well, and like I said, given his career, he was, gone quite a bit, but the free time that he did have, I felt like it could have been spent more um, with us. So basically, when you stop spending that time with each other, when you stop dating, when you stop making each other a priority, then things are quite naturally going to fall apart. And so basically, we found ourselves, after about 10 or so years, kind of falling apart. And there was, a trust issue at that point. And everybody's different. So with me, it's like, once that trust is gone, uh, I'm gonna kind of trust you like an arm's length. It's just like I kind of sort of do, but it's always that back. You're always thinking, oh, and so that was after about 10 years. So then we endured for a few more years. I don't know. I guess close to maybe I don't know. Things just kind of started getting worse. I'll just put it like that. It's really no easy way, simple way to put it. But once things kind of start going downhill, it's just like you have to decide, okay, like, should we fight for this? Am I doing enough? What do we need to do? Is it even worth saving? Um, and I just felt like I had gotten to a point to where I kind of lost myself. You know, I'm pretty sure I was depressed. I was sad all the time. Um, I would watch I would just like torture myself and watch these sappy movies where everybody always ends up in love and, everything.
Wait,
And
wait, you still do?
I still do. However, back then I would cry at the end because I wanted to feel that, you know, and and so I would like get jealous, like during the movies or, seeing people at Walmart or anything that showed like a display of a couple like truly like happy and in love. It's like I was just jealous. It just made me sad um, and I hated that feeling. I felt like I was just losing myself. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I was depressed. I was gaining weight. I was just never happy. Um, it was just a bad feeling. So towards the end, I had to, and I'm a giver. I give, and give. And sometimes you can lose yourself in that. And I think I had gotten to that point. Um, so I felt like for once in my life, I had to be selfish, and I had to choose myself. I knew it was going to hurt, my daughters. I knew some people, may have been disappointed because my parents had been married, over 40 years. Grandparents are married for a long time. So we were never really around a lot of like divorced people, growing up. And so, I dealt with all those emotions. How are the people in the church going to feel? How are my kids going to feel? My family going to feel? So it was a lot of emotions going on. But at the end of the day, I felt like I wasn't being a good mom. And when I started feeling like that, that's when I knew I had to change. because I prided myself on being a great mom, and I felt like I was letting my daughters down because I was showing them a relationship that's not healthy. And I didn't want that for them. I didn't want them to think that this is how a relationship or a marriage should look like. And for all you out there, that have children, I'm not advocating divorce by any means, but I'm telling you right now, your kids are gonna pick up on it. Kids are not crazy. They know exactly what's going on. You can be behind closed doors, you can whisper, you can do whatever you want to, but your kids are gonna know because they pick up on the energy. So I know a lot of people stay in marriages for different reasons. Um, but I'm telling you that your children already know, what's going on. So once I got to the point where I was feeling like I was being a bad influence on my daughters, it broke my heart. And so I knew I had to make a change. It wasn't easy. I talked to them about it because at the time they were teenagers, so they weren't like little kids, they can understand. Um, but you just have to come to a point to where you have to make a decision. And for me, I had to choose me. I had to choose my sanity. I had to choose my happiness because I felt like I wasn't going to be a good mom if I stayed in that relationship. And I felt like I wasn't going to be a good influence on them if I stayed. So, like I said, after about a little over 20 years, I guess, yeah, right. Yeah, a little bit over 20 years is when, we actually separated and got a divorce, and that was in 2018. Um, like I said, I'm not, I'm not supportive. It's saying, telling you to, go get a divorce, whatever. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that sometimes you have to evaluate, sit down and evaluate your life, evaluate your mental health. You know, it was affecting me in every aspect, and I guess I just ignored it, thinking, "Okay, I can get through this." But it's hard to get through. Like I said, physically, emotionally, mentally, everything, every aspect of my life was being affected. And so, at the end of the day, you have to choose yourself sometimes. And so, some people may say that's selfish, but for me, I didn't feel like I was going to be a good mom or even the best self that I could be, if I would have stayed. So that's kind of my backstory. Um, just want to, encourage, man or woman, whatever you may be going through, sometimes you just have to choose yourself at the end of the day. So,
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for giving your particular backstory, but also those just now tuning in or tuning in. Our very first episode was on Hanging with the Howards on our YouTube channel, Hanging with the Howards, and just a shameless plug, Ashland University, right here. That's my alma mater, and obviously, I just wanted to give a shout out to them. Um, I think one of the words that you used was evaluate, right? And that's like the biggest word that anybody potentially could use. For me, I'll go ahead and get my backstory. Matter of fact, this is my third marriage. As I joke oftenly, I'm getting a little closer to Elizabeth Taylor's record. By the way,
it
um,
stops here.
it,
It
it it
stops
it
here.
better stop right here. But my first marriage, I married somebody who was a Baptist preacher's daughter, and I hopefully I will not offend anybody in this particular backstory, but I I just felt like I was married to this lady for 3 years, a little over 3 years, and um sometimes you have to learn to shoulder the blame a little bit. Was I at the right point in my life to marry somebody? I don't think that I would at that particular time. My dad had gave some strong advice that I don't think I even listened to. And looking back, I didn't listen to those things. because you feel like you're in love. You you think you can conquer the world at 25 years old. You really can't. And the marriage. I often say that I was a little immature for our particular marriage, and it went south. And unfortunately, we parted ways after 3 years. It took from that 3 year period for another 7 years until I would get married a second time. And during that time in between, you learn certain things about yourself. What all things that you want in life. One of the things that was important to me, especially not right away. Again, I had married a Baptist preacher's daughter, and at the time in my life, I did not have Christ in my life. But when I went to work at Washita Baptist University, that's when I did get that opportunity and bring Christ into my life. So, I realized at that point I wanted somebody who was heavily involved. I guess you could say heavily involved, religious. Somebody that would go to church every Sunday. Somebody that could speak the word from time to time. And it was very difficult. Maybe it was the wrong timing. Maybe, again, I know that I think it's Jeremiah 11 says, for I know the plans I have for you. Well, God certainly knew my plan. He just wasn't sharing them with me. And maybe it was me trying to rush things. Once I found, I guess, the particular path, again, there's a there's a big difference from 3 years to 7 years of separation. And I was fortunate enough to find somebody um, and get in an entanglement. You want to laugh. She
That
wants
is
to laugh, but it's true. It was like a
that was
10-year
not an
entanglement.
entanglement.
It was 10 years of an entanglement.
No, it's not.
uh, but uh, it, I felt like at that particular time, when you meet somebody and you have a lot of things, I wouldn't say a lot of things in common. I met somebody who was more outgoing, somebody who had, I guess, ambitions and dreams and goals. And I had the opportunity to meet that person's family, and I felt like I was headed in the right direction. Somebody that I would want to spend time with, somebody who loved, going to concerts, loved being outdoors, loved having fun, loved going out and socializing and drinking. But is that all that's important in life? And so I got involved with this person, and we were together for 10 years, married for 8. And when you hit year 3, I went through a tremendous accident, a kayaking accident when I lived in Virginia Beach, and kind of wiped me out for about 8 months. And then we went to marriage counseling, which I felt was the absolute most important thing that anybody could ever do, is to put themselves out there and recognize, hey, we need help. And we needed help in a marriage. I felt like I was not only doing something for our marriage, but doing something for myself. Looking back, I only did looking back at that particular situation that year, 2016, of going through marriage counseling, I now realize I was the only one working on myself, the only one trying to fight for a marriage. And 2016 led to 2017, and unfortunately, um, I found some information uh, regarding my spouse cheating. And it wasn't. I don't know if it was physical cheating. I don't know if it was mental cheating. I can tell you it was definitely emotional cheating, and that is the most devastating thing that anybody could ever go through, is knowing your spouse is cheating on you. And somehow, some way, we miraculously survived and worked through it. And we went from living in Montgomery, Alabama, to Ruston, Louisiana, and then shifting from Ruston to Tallahassee, Florida. And things change in life. When I got involved in this particular relationship, again, I have no problem saying it, that I felt like the person had goals, dreams, and aspirations. This person did not get up in the morning, leave the house, and go to an actual everyday job. This person worked from home, had their own business, but were they making significant contributions? I couldn't tell you those answers. But I could tell you this much is when the bottom came crashing down, it it hurt. Coming back from a guy's trip and there being a Dear John letter. Um, it was incredibly devastating for me to go through something like that. But little by little, and with the help of some relatives, family members, the truth eventually came crashing down. And while I sought out um, virtual marriage counseling, because at this particular time, we're no longer living in the same city, we're no longer living in the same state. I sought out virtual marriage counseling. And once again, much like the first time in person, only one person actually participated in the marriage counseling, and that would have been myself. At the end of the day, this person chose a different lifestyle, different goals, different aspirations, different wants, different needs. She didn't want to be inside of a quote unquote box, but there were better ways to handle it than how this person particularly handled it. So my backstory with two previous marriages, both were failed marriages. The first one was mine. I will shoulder all that particular blame. I was just immature. I didn't know how to handle things. But the second one, I felt like I put so much time, so much effort into a marriage. Like Tish said at the beginning, is marriage is hard work. It's really a second job, to be honest with you. And for me, my biggest thing was the wants and the needs that I needed out of my partner. I didn't need to go to the club. I did not need to go to a bar. I did not need to have fun and drink. What I was looking for was somebody that I could cuddle with, somebody I could kiss, somebody I could hold hands with. Those things still exist. And opening a car door for the person that I'm with. Those things still exist today. But it didn't exist with the previous person I was with. That person never showed me the respect that I particularly deserve. And I know wherever she goes or whatever she does, that particular issue is going to continue to follow that person. At the end of the day, I never failed, but I gained something from it. And the biggest thing that I gained, honestly, was learning how to be better to myself, be more selfish with myself, be more intentional. Who do I want to spend time with? And that's where Tish came into play. I'm so thankful every day for the opportunities that I get with Tish. I am incredibly grateful because Tish loves all those things that I just said. She loves to cuddle. She loves to kiss. She loves to hold hands. She loves it when I open her door. We've been married for over a year and I'm still opening this woman's door. I love, surprising her with a card. I really love surprising her with red roses. Those are the things that are important to me. The last person that, as I joke, the entanglement that I was with, right? That person didn't enjoy those things. That person would rather have been with somebody else than me. And while that hurts, at the end of the day, I'm fine. I'm okay. And you have to get to that particular place. You have to be comfortable going to dinner by yourself. You have to be comfortable going to the movies by yourself. All those things, all those intangibles I just said, the fact of hey, it's great having that particular person. Was that person for me? It wasn't. So when the opportunity came about to not only date Tish, not only court Tish, but to marry Tish, that was something significant to me. I look at Tish as not just a strong woman, and you just heard her story. She's incredibly strong, but she did a lot of it as a single mother. And I'm blessed to be a stepfather to those children. While yes, they're up in age, and when I say up in age, like less than 25, but older than 18, you know, that to me is still a big responsibility that I have. It's better than any responsibility I've ever had in my life. Not only do I have to go to work, I got to provide for myself, my wife, and my stepchildren at the same time. Those are huge responsibilities. But I wouldn't have been there had I not gone through all those things that I went through. At the end of the day, all I can say is I became a better person. God carried me through a lot of stuff. He carried me through my ex cheating on me, my ex um, choosing a different lifestyle, living in a different state, uh, not telling her parents about all these things, not even telling the real reason why the two of us got divorced in the first place. But at the end of the day, I know that wherever I go, I can hold my head high because I went through two failed marriages, and I know that this third one is something that I am doing completely right. So that is my backstory.
Backstory.
Except for all the entanglements, too, by the way.
No entanglement. So like I said, we just kind of wanted to share, give you our backstory. We did have some comments, some feedback. Um, people may want to know, well, what happened? What did you do before you met? So we just kind of want to give you a glimpse, into our lives before we met each other. So we hope that we said something that can encourage you, inspire you, regardless of, what type of relationship or situation you may be in. We just feel like we just need to get it out there. And just let you know kind of what we had to deal with, uh, which is, why we're so appreciative of each other. Like he said, some of the things that we were both missing in our previous relationship, we have that now. We appreciate that now. It kind of gives you a greater appreciation. Every relationship that you're in should teach you something. You know, and I think we both learned from our previous marriages. Things that we could do better. Just kind of how to cater to each other a little bit more. We weren't perfect, like you said. We weren't perfect in our previous marriage. This is not all just on one person. But we live and we learn. So we hope that we help someone. And once again, give us your feedback, give us your comments. You may inspire somebody else with your story. Um, so I guess that's about all we have for now.
We're going to talk about our first date, and what that particularly looked like, and meeting each other in person for the first time. So we hope that you can tune in and watch that particular episode. And as always, everything is worth the wait.
See ya.
Bye bye.